This is LuxeMind Tactics, where the wealth mindset meets luxury living.
What if the financial advice you've been following your whole life, save money, get out of debt, buy a nice house, is actually a blueprint for a life of quiet financial struggle? It sounds crazy, maybe even backwards, but the vast majority of people are running million-dollar dreams on minimum wage mental software. The ultra-wealthy don't just earn more, they operate with a completely different set of rules. They see the world of money not as a place of scarcity, but as a game of strategy and leverage. And the most shocking part, their success isn't just about what they do, it's about the common, everyday money habits they deliberately avoid. Here, we're going to expose the 7 money habits the rich intentionally sidestep. These aren't just tips, they are fundamental shifts in mindset that separate the top tier from everyone else. And the last one might be the very thing holding you back. So, if you're ready to stop following the herd and start learning the playbook of the financially free, stick around. This isn't just another list of money tips. This is a deprogramming. The first habit the rich avoid is one of the most deeply ingrained pieces of financial advice we ever get, the obsession with saving money. From our first piggy bank, we're taught that the path to wealth is paved with pennies saved. Frugality, clipping coupons, skipping the daily latte, these are seen as the cornerstones of financial responsibility. And look, while saving is not a bad thing, it's way better than overspending. It's a dangerously incomplete strategy. It's like trying to win a Formula One race by only focusing on not crashing while never once hitting the accelerator. The average person sees money through a lens of defense. How can I cut back? How can I spend less? They believe that if they just shrink their expenses enough, they'll have a surplus. But here's the problem with that thinking. It's based on limitation. There's a hard floor on how much you can save. You can only cut your expenses down to 0, and that's not a life, that's just survival. This defensive mindset puts a ceiling on your financial potential. You can only get so rich by being frugal. The wealthy, on the other hand, get this. You can only save a little, but you can earn a virtually unlimited amount. They see money through a lens of offense. Their primary question isn't, how do I save more, but how do I earn more? They know that while saving is part of wealth management, the engine of wealth creation is income. Specifically, multiple streams of it. Self-made millionaires rarely have only one source of income. They don't just trade time for money in a job. They build and acquire systems that generate money for them, even when they're not actively working. Modern millionaires often build these streams with synergy, where one revenue channel feeds another. Think of a real estate agent who starts a YouTube channel with home buying tips. The channel makes ad revenue, sure, but it also becomes a lead generation machine for their business. They might then write an ebook on negotiation, creating another stream that solidifies their authority and attracts even more clients. This mindset is proactive. Instead of just taking a paycheck and trying to hoard what's left, the wealthy are constantly asking, where can I deploy my capital to create another income stream? What problem can I solve that will generate revenue? What asset can I buy that will pay me to own it? They see every dollar not just as something to be saved, but as a soldier to be sent out to bring back more dollars. The focus shifts from preservation to multiplication. So the move here is to start shifting your focus from purely defensive saving to offensive earning. This doesn't mean you should start spending recklessly. It means maintaining your spending discipline while redirecting your primary mental energy toward creating your second income stream. Start small. Can you freelance a skill you have? Can you invest a small, consistent amount into a dividend-paying fund? Can you start a small online business? The goal is to break the psychological dependence on a single paycheck and start building machines that bring more money to you. From our first credit card offer, we're bombarded with warnings about the evils of debt. We're told to avoid it, pay it off quickly, and that being debt-free is the ultimate symbol of freedom. For the average person, debt is a 4-letter word synonymous with stress and ruin. And to be fair, for most people it is. High-interest credit card debt and loans for things that lose value are absolute wealth destroyers. That's bad debt. But the rich know a secret. Not all debt is created equal. They avoid bad debt like the plague, but they actively seek out and embrace what's known as good debt. They don't see debt as an enemy. They see it as one of the most powerful tools for accelerating wealth. What's the difference? Bad debt is borrowing money to consume. It's the vacation on the credit card or the loan for a new car that loses 20% of its value the second you drive it off the lot. You're borrowing money to buy liabilities, things that take money out of your pocket. Good debt is borrowing money to acquire an asset that's expected to grow in value or generate income. The wealthy understand leverage, using other people's money, the banks, to control a larger asset than you could afford alone. If the return on that asset is higher than the loan's interest rate, you're essentially making a profit with borrowed funds. Let's use a classic example: real estate. Say you have $100,000 cash. You could buy one $100,000 property outright. If it appreciates by 10% in a year, you've made $10,000, a 10% return. Not bad. Now here's how a wealthy mindset might approach it. Instead of buying one property, they use that $100,000 as a 20% down payment on 5 separate $100,000 properties, borrowing the other $400,000. They now control $500,000 worth of real estate. If those properties also appreciate by 10%, their portfolio value has jumped by $50,000. Even after costs, their return on that initial $100,000 is dramatically higher. Plus, if they're rentals, the tenants are paying down the loans for them. This isn't just for real estate. Business owners borrow to invest in equipment that increases profits. Investors borrow against their portfolios to fund new investments, avoiding selling assets and triggering taxes. It's a key part of the buy, borrow, die strategy the ultra-rich use to get cash without selling and paying capital gains. The average person is terrified of the loan balance. They see a $400,000 mortgage and feel trapped. The wealthy person focuses on the asset. They see a $500,000 asset that's growing and generating income, all made possible by that loan. Avoiding all debt is like a carpenter refusing to use a power saw because it's dangerous. Yes, it can hurt you if used improperly, but with skill, it's a tool that dramatically increases your output. The wealthy don't avoid the tool. They master it. The habit to break is the blanket fear of debt. Start recategorizing debt in your mind. Is this for consumption or for investment? While you should still crush high-interest consumer debt, start educating yourself on how strategic leverage works. For most people, tax season is a time of dread. They see taxes as an unavoidable expense, a chunk of their hard-earned money that just vanishes. They might look for a few deductions, but for the most part, they view tax planning as something you do for a week in April. After they file and pay, they don't think about it again for another year. The rich have a totally different relationship with taxes. For them, tax management isn't a yearly event. It's a central part of their entire financial strategy. They understand that the single largest expense in most people's lifetime isn't their house, but taxes. So, legally minimizing this expense offers one of the highest returns possible. A tax strategist once said, "The tax code is a series of incentives disguised as rules." Most people only see the rules. The wealthy focus on the incentives. They see the tax code as a roadmap from the government to encourage specific behaviors, like starting businesses, creating jobs, and providing housing. By aligning their activities with these incentives, they can legally and dramatically reduce their tax burden. This is why you hear stories about billionaires paying a lower effective tax rate than their secretaries. It's not usually about illegal evasion. It's because their income isn't a typical salary. An employee earns a wage, which is taxed at the highest rates. You earn, pay tax, then invest what's left. The wealthy often do the reverse. Their businesses earn, invest, and spend pre-tax dollars to grow, and then they pay tax on the much smaller amount that remains. One of their most powerful, long-term strategies is what's known as buy, borrow, die. 1. Buy. They acquire appreciating assets, like stocks or real estate. 2. Borrow. As these assets grow, instead of selling them and paying huge capital gains taxes, they take out low-interest loans against their portfolio's value. Loans aren't income, so they're tax-free. 3. Die. They hold these assets for life. When they pass away, the assets go to their heirs. Thanks to a provision called the stepped-up basis, the asset's cost basis is adjusted to its market value at the time of death. This means the heirs can sell the assets with little to no capital gains tax on decades of growth. It's crucial to note, however, that tax laws like this can and do change and are often part of political debates. It's a complete flip of how the average person operates. The average person works for dollars, the rich work for assets. The average person sells assets for cash, the rich borrow against them. The habit to break is tax apathy, the belief that you have no control. Stop seeing yourself as a passive victim of the tax code and start seeing yourself as an active participant who can use the rules to your advantage. The actionable step is to make financial and tax education a year-round priority. You don't need to be a CPA, but you need to learn the language. Start by understanding the tax advantages of retirement accounts and the difference between short-term and long-term capital gains. As your wealth grows, your most important hire won't be a stock picker, but a brilliant tax strategist. Remember, a dollar saved in taxes is a dollar you can invest, and you get to keep all of it. We live in a world that glorifies the appearance of wealth. Social media is a parade of luxury vacations, designer clothes, and exotic cars. The message is clear: success is something you wear, drive, and post. This has created a middle-class trap of lifestyle inflation. As soon as someone gets a raise, their first instinct is to upgrade their lifestyle. Bigger house, nicer car, fancier watch. They're playing a game of looking rich. The truly wealthy avoid this game. They understand a crucial distinction. Looking rich and being rich are often opposites. They prioritize being rich, which is a number on a spreadsheet, your net worth, over looking rich, which is a performance for an audience. Many of the world's wealthiest people are famously frugal. It's widely reported that Warren Buffett still lives in the same modest house he bought in 1958. Mark Zuckerberg is often seen driving a relatively simple car. Studies of self-made millionaires often find they're more likely to drive Toyotas and Fords than flashy luxury brands. This isn't because they're cheap, it's because they're making a calculated decision. Every dollar spent on a depreciating liability to impress others is a dollar that can't be invested in an appreciating asset to build their freedom. Lifestyle inflation is one of the most effective wealth killers. It creates golden handcuffs. People start earning six figures but feel just as broke as they did earning half that. Why? Because their expenses rise right alongside their income. Their large salary gets eaten by a large mortgage, car payments, and expensive hobbies. They have a high income but a low net worth and are just one layoff away from disaster. The rich do the opposite. They intentionally live below their means. When their income increases, they see it as a chance to widen the gap between what they earn and spend. That gap is the raw material for wealth. They take that extra money and immediately put it to work, buying more assets. They are paying themselves first, not just by saving, but by buying their freedom. This requires immense psychological discipline. It means resisting the urge for instant gratification and being comfortable driving a 10-year-old car when your colleagues are leasing new BMWs. The wealthy get their satisfaction not from a luxury purchase, but from watching their net worth grow. Their status comes from their balance sheet, not their brand labels. This is the core finding in the classic book, The Millionaire Next Door. Most real millionaires are the people you never suspect. To break this habit, you have to untangle your self-worth from your stuff. Value freedom over flash. The next time you get a raise or a bonus, have a plan for that new money before it hits your account. Commit to automatically investing at least 50% of it. Before any big purchase, ask yourself, am I buying this to move my financial goals forward or to impress other people? All right, we're about halfway through, and if these ideas are starting to click, you're on the right path. This isn't just about information, it's about transformation, but real change requires you to stay immersed in the right mindset. If you want to keep reprogramming your financial brain, do yourself a favor and subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. Every video is designed to give you another piece of the wealth building puzzle and help you shift from a conventional mindset to a millionaire mindset. It's free, it takes a second, and it's a commitment to becoming the architect of your financial life, not just a passive observer. So go ahead, click that subscribe button, and let's get back to it. One of the biggest differences between the wealthy and everyone else is their perception of time. The average person operates on a short-time horizon. Their financial world is governed by the next paycheck, the next bill, the next month's rent. Their planning is often focused on the next vacation or the next year. It's a cycle of instant gratification, reinforced by our on-demand world. This leads to impulsive decisions, panic selling in a market dip, or chasing a hot stock from a news headline. The rich avoid this myopic view. They are masters of long-term thinking. They don't think in days or weeks. They think in years, decades, and even generations. This long-term perspective is their ultimate competitive advantage. It lets them make decisions that seem weird in the short term, but are profoundly powerful over time. Warren Buffett famously said, "Someone's sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." The wealthy are the ones who planted the seeds. They get the monumental power of compounding. Compounding is nearly invisible in the short term, but becomes an unstoppable avalanche over decades. The average person lacks the patience to let it work. They plant a seed and keep digging it up to see if it's growing. The rich plant the seed, water it consistently, and trust the process. This mindset shows up everywhere. First, in their investing. The wealthy don't try to time the market. They focus on time in the market. They buy high-quality assets and plan to hold them for a very long time. When a market crash happens, the average person, driven by fear, panics and sells at the bottom. The wealthy person, guided by their long-term view, sees it as a buying opportunity, a sale on premium assets. They're greedy when others are fearful because their time horizon extends far beyond the current crisis. Second, in their career. Someone with a short-term mindset might take the job with the highest starting salary, even if it has no growth potential. A long-term thinker might take a lower-paying job with incredible mentors and explosive growth potential, knowing the skills and connections gained will be worth far more in a decade. Breaking the habit of short-term thinking requires you to consciously zoom out, set clear, long-term goals. Don't just save more money, aim for a specific net worth by a certain age. Having a clear destination helps you navigate short-term storms. Here's the actionable step. Start making decisions through the lens of your future self. Before a big choice, ask, what will the 10 years from now version of me think about this? Does this move me closer to my long-term goals or just satisfy a short-term impulse? Automate your long-term decisions, like monthly investments, to take your emotions out of the equation. Start valuing patience as a strategic advantage. In a world obsessed with speed, the ability to play the long game is a superpower. For most people, the learning journey has a finish line. It ends with a diploma or a degree. After that, they enter the workforce and believe their education is complete. They might learn new skills on the job, but the proactive pursuit of knowledge grinds to a halt. They equate education with schooling, and since school is over, they stop being a student. The rich know this is a catastrophic mistake. For them, formal schooling is just the warm-up. The real education, the kind that builds fortunes, begins the day you leave the classroom and never stops. The wealthy are obsessive, continuous learners. It's famously said that Warren Buffett spends the majority of his day just reading and thinking. Why is this so critical? Because financial literacy isn't taught in most schools. You can graduate from a top university and still be illiterate about how money, investing, and taxes really work. The knowledge required to build wealth is almost entirely self-taught. The average person outsources their financial thinking to their HR department. The rich take full ownership of their financial education. They know the financial world is complex and always changing. Strategies from a decade ago might be obsolete. They read books on investing and behavioral finance. They study successful entrepreneurs. They listen to podcasts, attend seminars, and build networks of smart people. They see knowledge not as an expense, but as the ultimate investment. This gives them a massive advantage. When a new opportunity arises, they can analyze it. When the market turns, their knowledge of financial history prevents panic. They aren't just reacting to the financial world, they are anticipating it. Their learning isn't just about finance. They study psychology, negotiation, and leadership. Every new skill adds another tool to their toolbox. The habit to break is intellectual complacency, the feeling that you already know enough. The actionable step is to schedule your self-education like you schedule a meeting. Dedicate a block of time each week to learning. It could be 30 minutes of reading a financial book on your lunch break or listening to an investing podcast on your commute. Start with the basics. Read The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel to understand the why behind our financial behaviors. Read The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins to understand index fund investing. Read Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright to grasp tax strategy. The resources are more accessible than ever. Stop waiting for someone to teach you. Your financial future will be a direct reflection of your commitment to your own education. The final habit is maybe the most critical for long-term security. The rich avoid having a single point of failure. For most people, their entire financial structure rests on one fragile pillar: their job. Their income is their salary. Their retirement is in the company 401k. Their health insurance is tied to their employer. It's the financial equivalent of building a beautiful mansion on a single stilt. If that one pillar fails, a layoff, an illness, a shift in the industry, the whole thing comes crashing down. This dependence creates constant low-grade anxiety. People fear a bad performance review or their job being automated. This fear dictates their choices. They don't take risks. They don't negotiate aggressively. They don't leave jobs they hate because the fear of losing that one paycheck is paralyzing. The wealthy refuse to live this way. They are masters of diversification and redundancy. They methodically eliminate every single point of failure. First, as we discussed, they diversify their income. They build multiple streams of revenue. If their business has a bad quarter, rental income keeps the cash flowing. If the stock market dives, royalties from their book provide a buffer. This gives them both financial stability and psychological freedom. Second, they diversify their assets. They don't just own stocks, they own real estate, stakes in private businesses, maybe precious metals, and other alternative assets. This allocation ensures that a downturn in one area doesn't wipe out their entire net worth. It creates a resilient, all-weather portfolio designed to withstand shocks. Third, the ultra-wealthy even diversify geographically. They often hold assets in different countries and currencies. Some even hold a second passport. This isn't just for a jet-set lifestyle. It's the ultimate hedge against political instability, unfavorable tax laws, or currency devaluation in their home country. The habit to break is centralization, the all eggs in one basket approach. You must start thinking like a risk manager for your own life. The actionable step is to do a single point of failure audit. Ask yourself, income. If I lost my job tomorrow, what would happen? What's my plan to create a second income stream in the next 6 months? Investments. Is all my retirement money in my company's stock? Is my entire net worth tied up in my primary home's equity? Skills. Is my professional value tied to one narrow skill that could become obsolete? What adjacent skills can I learn? Your goal is to build redundancy. Start with an emergency fund. Then work on that second income stream. Start investing in a diversified, low-cost index fund. Slowly but surely, build a financial life that is robust and resilient, a structure supported by multiple strong pillars, not one fragile stilt. So, what's the common thread here? Focusing on earning, not just saving, using debt as a tool, making tax strategy central, prioritizing being rich over looking rich, thinking long-term, committing to lifelong learning, and building a resilient, diversified financial life. Every single one is about moving from a passive, reactive mindset to a proactive, strategic one. It's about shifting from being a consumer to being an owner, from being an employee to being an investor. It's deciding to play the game of money by the rules the wealthy use, not the rules the masses follow. Changing these habits isn't easy, but it starts with awareness. It continues with the daily choice to think and act differently. You don't need to be a billionaire to adopt a billionaire's mindset. You can start today. So I want you to leave a comment below. What is the one habit from this list that you are going to commit to breaking, starting today? Declaring it is the first step toward making it real. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications. Our next video will dive even deeper into building your first income-generating asset. You don't want to miss it. Thank you for investing your time with me today. Now go and start building.